Hi parents, and welcome into your astrology energy forecast for you and your kids for this solar eclipse that we have on October 25th in Scorpio. My name is Christy Whistler. I am an intuitive, an astrologer, and I'm also the parent of two magical multi-dimensional kids. So what I really like to do is to share with you what are the energies, what can be coming up for your kids at this time. They're very sensitive to this, and even as well reflections that I'm seeing in my children. Now, if you do need support with this, if you have a little being on your hand that you have no idea what to do with, or just really coming out of nowhere for you, and how do you manage and support them in these energies, please reach out. I do offer astrology birth chart readings for children as well as adults, so we can look and see what's coming up for your kids at this time and how you can best support them to move through these energies. And you'll find a link below to my website at christywhistler.com. And please like this video and subscribe to this channel. That really helps to break out of the YouTube algorithm to find and connect with more parents who are like you, who want to support your kids and help them in their sensitivities and meet these energies. All right, so let me go ahead and get started. And first off, please, I apologize for the sound of my voice. I'm still in the throes of cold, gifted to me by my children. And unfortunately, astrology, that just keeps on going. So it was either share this with you as best as I can or don't. So I'm going to go ahead with sharing. So again, apologize for me sounding a little congested because I am. Okay, so this is a lot of really big energy that is hitting us at this moment, as well as our children. Now, on October 22nd and 23rd, Saturn actually stationed direct in Aquarius, and I'm really grateful that I wasn't even able to film that video or this video then, because that was actually a really big and challenging day for my son Eric. I mean, just him trying to move the energies out of his body, it was like an all-day constant thing. I think we did about 3 miles worth of walking, and we went to the pool for over an hour. And he even had like twice in the shower where he goes and he gets out his energy in a nice contained place, and water is very helpful for him. And yet it was like we were barely getting through the day because it was so much happening. So let me know if you've had a child who's really experiencing that kind of just energy. They can't get it out of their system no matter what they do. Please know that this is up in the field right now, and this can very well continue through this eclipse cycle. We do have the eclipse. I'm filming this on the 24th of October, so it's tomorrow. And that's going to take us through to the November 8th, which is the lunar eclipse. And I will be doing an additional video on that as we get a little bit closer to that date. But very much this cycle, very intense. This is a south node eclipse that we have first in Scorpio. So Scorpio is all about the intensity, full spectrum of experiences. And then we're going to be coming into the Taurus lunar eclipse. So just know there's a lot in the field. So be really gentle and sensitive for yourself and for your kids and what they may be experiencing and not able to communicate with you what they're feeling and what's moving through their body. So just kind of heads up about that. Okay, so as I mentioned, Saturn stationed direct in Aquarius. So this is going to be a really wonderful time to reflect for you parents on what have you learned during this retrograde period. So in our parenting journey, what in our systems and structures, these rules and expectations that may have been placed on us and our kids by society, schools, that kind of thing, what wasn't working? So Saturn retrograde is that real reflective period and kind of looking at things and being like, I can do it better. Let's experiment. Let's try new things. So what was revealed to you, or maybe what your children revealed to you during this time? This, with Saturn going direct, now we're maybe feeling a lot of forward momentum. Again, I apologize, my voice. Forward momentum to implement those new changes and directions. Again, experiment, try new things. And what is that going to be for you? So don't be afraid to go and do that. Don't hold back. Like, now is the time to really do these things differently. So this is going to be a continuous theme I've been talking about a lot, is that Saturn is still square to Uranus, okay? So think of that as like these dying throes of the old versus the new. The collapse of the old as we bring in this new. But expect still, because we're in this square between these energies, that there's still some pushback from authority that's really trying to hold on to power. In addition, we still have Pluto going through those last degrees of Capricorn. So really transforming these systems and structures in our world into something new. So again, be aware of this energy, parents. If you have kids that are really digging their heels in right now, maybe about you, and how you are parenting. Maybe there are things that you're doing that your kids are being very vocal, or behaviors really acting out to say, I don't like this. Or maybe it's other authorities in their life, teachers, schools, coaches. So this is this invitation for you to listen. Can you meet your children in their energy of frustration, divine discontent, rebellion? And can you use that to together create something new that is more supportive for who they are and what they're telling you that their needs are? So this energy, Uranus, okay, is really wanting it to be like a grassroots up, coming from the down up, rather than this traditional top-down patriarchy systems. Like, this is how the way things are done, the authority of the past, okay? We're really dismantling that on a collective level. And so you may be seeing that reflected in your children in relationship with you, okay? But we are being supported in trying new things at this time. So bringing in the new and the different, even though, okay, with Saturn there, Saturn's making us work for it. And it's not a bad thing, because it's like this energy of work for it, but then it's going to be long lasting. It's going to be here for a while. That's what we're each building in our lives and creating. Now, you may really see this coming up within your community, okay? Because that's the Aquarius energy that Saturn is in. And again, we have Uranus, which is the ruler of Aquarius. So community, humanitarianism, okay, really progressive energy around all this. Experiment, be objective, try new things. Okay, that one didn't work. Let's go and do this instead. And really bring your kids on board with that, so you can be a partner together and building this new relationship, which is also really reflecting the Scorpio eclipse energy, which I'll get to in just a minute. But just know that this is coming in from several different areas. So the Saturn energy is really having us go through this like a slow, steady process, because through that we are then building this very strong, solid foundation. Again, new projects in your life or your children, okay? New communities, this birthing of new social experiments and different ways of how we are even doing community in our world. And maybe for you, community really revolved around the nuclear family. And maybe that's changing. Maybe that nuclear family structure isn't actually working for you or the children that you have and their uniqueness and sensitivities and differences. So where are you being guided to go and build and find new community that actually is supportive of you? Another way this can be showing up is like how you are in relationship with your kids. It's actually something I talk about quite a bit in my different videos. So instead of following the ways which you were more than likely taught, this top-down authority, always telling kids what to do, how to behave, to be seen and not heard, can be completely shifting on its head right now. How can I be in partnership with my kids? To be in relationship with them, to see them as a human being that I am here to guide and teach, and yet in a way that still is actually respectful to them, their opinions, their thoughts, and their ideas. And how can you do that and yet still hold necessary boundaries because they are still children, right? And this will vary depending on if you have a really little child or if you have a teenager, right? You need more boundaries for your little kids for obvious reasons. They're still learning what it means to be human and how to be healthy and safe. Whereas your teens are going to be in a different space with that energy, and you can have more of this back and forth. So it's this exploration, this experimentation of what that's going to look like. How to have the boundaries and yet still give them this freedom to explore because they feel safe, because you are actually holding those boundaries that they may not even be conscious of, and yet they're feeling with their whole systems. And so again, like what I'm speaking of is very new. It's never been done before, or perhaps this type of parenting may be completely new to you, or whatever system of parenting and being in relationship you're creating is so new and different that it really hasn't been done before. So again, there's just so much shifting that's going on and so many opportunities to explore this and to do it differently. And for another example, like here I am, most of the education work that I do with my children is through self-directed education and being in nature. We go camping about once a month. And so I'm deeply in tune as well to my kids' psychic sensitivities and this quantum world that I am learning about, and they are equally teaching me. You know, this world that my son literally plays in. And I don't know where that's going to be taking us. And yet we're taking it, and I'm trusting it like one step at a time. So I would love to know, please leave in the comments like how that energy might be coming up for you. Apologies. So also to add as well, we might have an easier time with communication around these ideas and information with others, family and friends perhaps, or those who haven't understood you on this journey that you and your kids are on. You may find that's a little bit easier with Saturn trying to Mercury over in Libra. So these people in your life may still not understand you or even get behind you, but there can be an easing of that tension. You may find that you don't have as much resistance as you might have had in the past. You may find as well that you have an easier time communicating with your kids, or them communicating with you in a way that's more in balance, more harmonious, eloquence. That's the word that I've been trying to say. Because this is something that we've been learning over these past few months. And now we're having like an ease into this learning. It's not so strenuous because we've been doing this work of putting the pieces together for how to communicate in these new ways, how to give and take with others, how to receive, how to listen, especially as we create these new systems and structures. Okay, so that has been the energy leading up until this to this solar eclipse. It's again happening on October 25th at 2 degrees of Scorpio. So please look at your birth chart or your children's and see where that 2 degrees Scorpio falls for them and for you. What is being highlighted at this time? So you'll go ahead and you'll look at the house of your birth chart and see what planets might be there and maybe activating for you or them. And if you don't know where that is and you would like some support with that, again, please reach out. I do offer these astrology birth chart readings, which has just been a game changer for me in understanding, well, who I am, of course, but also who my kids are. All right, so why is this eclipse such a big deal? Now, solar eclipses can really bring about permanent changes in our life. And this is a new moon, so it's a super new moon is really what it is. And these energies, these changes, like it can be reverberating for 2 years down into the future. We'll definitely be feeling them for the next 6 months, which is when our next eclipse cycle will begin. Okay, now this one, as I said, we just had Saturn stationing direct. And this is a south node solar eclipse, so it's closer to the moon's south node. So this is very, again, supporting for us in this new beginning that we're creating, that you and your kids are creating. But first, it's in Scorpio. So that means that we need to be willing, or maybe not so willing, we may not actually get that choice, to go dig deep. Scorpio is all about going into the depths, going into the darkness. Scorpio is full spectrum experience of life. It is the good and the bad and the ugly. So all those things that we've swept under the rug and we didn't want to look at because it's uncomfortable, it's icky, it's dark, guess what? That's coming to the surface to be seen and to be cleared. Hello. Sorry, that was Eric who came and went. So for you, parents, whatever it is that you are calling in, that you are wanting to create, these new systems, new structures, okay, whatever that is for you, new projects, it can't be created until we've cleared out the muck. Everything that's toxic, everything that's been hidden, what's been in the unconscious for ourselves and in society, it's been clogging and preventing that way forward. For example, if you want to shift how you are showing up in relationship with your kids, but you find that you keep defaulting and going back to those old rules, or maybe you're getting really angry with your kids when they voice their wants and their needs, and that's triggering something in you, okay? You can't create this new partnership with your kids until you understand your underlying reaction. Why are you having that emotional reaction to them saying to you, I don't want to leave the park, or no, Mom, I'm not going to listen to you. or whatever it is that your teens might be really triggering for you at this time, and really, them digging their heels into their independence. Okay, you may find that you are having reactions. And your work, your calling, is to ask why. Why is that anger there? What is it telling you? Is this a reflection of your inner child, of yourself at 6 years old, who that 6-year-old self is actually really pissed off that your child now is getting something that you yourself couldn't have at that age, where you had to suppress that feeling, that desire, that emotion, just so you could survive? Or why are you perhaps afraid to loosen these rules that you set up with your kids? Are you afraid that you will lose control of them? Why is that fear there? What is it telling you? That's what I'm speaking about when I'm talking about the unconscious. What is underneath this reaction that you're having, this feeling, this emotion, this trigger? Okay, our kids are these little mirrors. So they're really holding up very big mirrors at this time. Don't be afraid to look in them. That is what we are being called to do at this moment. And this is where the gold is, because that reaction, that is where you as parents are being deeply called to go into. And then to hold space as well for your kids, okay? Because they're going to be going through the same reaction process. Things bubbling up to the surface that are uncomfortable, don't feel good, okay? Full spectrum emotions. They can be very emotional right now. They can be very angry right now, okay? So just know that they may also be feeling these things, this kind of energy, this intensity, and they're not going to be conscious of it in the way that you and I can be. So, can you also take a deep breath and not react to their reaction? I'll just share a really quick story. When Eric was younger, it was very intense. Very fiery child, just screaming, very frustrated all the time. And I had to learn how to walk through that fire, to learn how to not react to his upset, angry reactions, to stay in this space of peace and calm for him, while also still allowing him the space to feel what he needed to feel in a safe way for everyone, including him. And that meant, of course, allowing him to feel it and to help him move through it. But I had to learn to be that calm in the center of the storm. So it's this ability that the Scorpio eclipse may be really activating for you at this time. And so can you be this calm in the eye of the storm? This is a real transformational opportunity here, that even though this energy is intense, it is here to support us and to bring us into this new earth. So be very aware, parents, what is surfacing in the past right now for you. This could be your childhood, this could be past lives, and yes, this is happening at a personal level, but this is also collectively. Now, this video, I'm specifically focusing on parents and the parenting experience, but I do have another video that's kind of more worldly focused. So if you want to see that one, then go check that one out. I will put a link in the description for you as well. So what has been swept under the rug for you as a parent, that you don't want to see, that we as parents have been afraid of or uncomfortable with, that we try to pretend hasn't been there inside us or around us. And yet, it has been there this entire time. I'm going to use an example for here in the United States. There's a great deal of fear around the body, especially the naked body. Now, there are many layers to that, so I'm just going to pick out like one of them. Okay, one thread. It's like we came from this extreme of coming from these indigenous tribes and cultures where naked bodies are the norm. And yet now in 2022, in my experience as a parent, people can be very afraid of the naked body, to have babies be naked or toddlers without wearing clothes on, that there can be many reactions to that. And again, there's layers to this. There is protection of the child for sure, especially in our social media digital world, okay? From those who would see a child's body in that way. And yet, okay, what I want to look at is what's the moment when it's okay for a baby to be naked, right? And the cute little baby butts, like, come on, cute baby butts. They're, and then when does that not okay? Like, when in our society have we started to see children's bodies in this kind of sexual way? Whereas the child, for example, their experience might be that they just don't want to have clothes on because it feels so much better to not wear clothes, and they don't want to have anything to do with clothes or even shoes. Like, there is this real hard line around kids being barefoot. And of course, there are exceptions to this. Again, many layers and threads. There are places where it's not safe to go barefoot, for sure. But I hope you can see the nuances of the dynamics that I'm trying to speak to right now. So there is this coming up to the surface of like, why in our society have these rules been set as they've been? Why did we get there when we were over here? So this is a real time to take a look. This is Scorpio. We are in Scorpio season. We've got a lot of planets in Scorpio. Looking at things in society that society doesn't want us to look at. The things that are considered taboo. That's exactly where this eclipse energy is taking us. And, okay, this new beginning, this new cycle starting of how we can bring some big change to some of those areas. So see where that might be coming up for you, and please leave a comment below and let me know. This is, I said, Scorpio. So secrets coming to light, shining lights down into the dark places so we can clear the way for this new beginning. What has been toxic in your life and in the collective, these deep secrets that have become toxic in our lives, trust, betrayal, manipulation, drama, intensity, all these things are really being highlighted and activated at this eclipse. You may find that family secrets and dynamics are coming to light. It could also be secrets that your child or your teenager has held from you, or they've been holding for others. So this evolutionary intention right now, parents, is to not shy away from what is dark, ugly, uncomfortable, taboo. Instead, it's the more you surrender to what is, to this transformational process, okay? This is life, death, and rebirth that we're going through. Surrender to that. The easier it will be to move through these energies. It's like when you witness what is hard and uncomfortable, then those feelings and truths are no longer holding you down. There is this freedom in witnessing, in feeling. So how can you be the sacred witness in your life and for your kids especially when it comes to relationships and what we value. And we have Venus coming in there as well. So again, relationships and value is really up, very much up at this time. So can you be honest? Can you be transparent with your children and your family? Even if what needs to be transparent about isn't pretty. It doesn't sound pretty. And of course, always want to do this when you do feel safe. So that is important. There are some people you are not going to be raw and vulnerable with because it's not safe for you. So find the people that can hold that for you. And I would offer that invitation as well. If there are people that you do not feel safe with, ask why. Why is this big Scorpio question right now really looking underneath the surface? And one of the ways that I haven't felt safe in this world is being the mother of a child who is very different, who is neurodiverse. And my son, Eric, is really experiencing life in a way that is unique to him with his sensitivities. And it's like I have had this experience of the moment walking out my door, I immediately don't feel safe. Because there's been this constant looking around, what Eric's doing, do I need to redirect him? Do I see a threat or a possible conflict coming in that he may be doing, or that another person may be projecting onto him and their opinions of him being different? So haven't felt safe. And then there are places I choose not to go because I don't feel safe for him to exist as he is there. And then there are people in my life who I will have deeper conversations with, who I will go into the discomfort and share this kind of depth with them. And there are some people that I will just smile and nod and, talk about the weather. Although I will say I have fewer and fewer of those people in my life at this time. So Scorpio, again, is the unconscious. And what is unconscious will be really coming to the surface for each of us right now and for the collective. So instead of pretending that these things aren't there, look at them. Do the courageous act of really going there and seeing them. Asking questions, why are you having this experience? Or your children? Why are you being drawn to the people in your life? And this is very important as parents, because so much of our healing, when we come into more alignment and understanding, we can then show up better for our kids. And our kids are our mirror. They are constantly bearing back to us this unconscious of us, all those areas that we still need to heal. Our inner children who are still wounded from that time on the playground where we were laughed at, or for being different, or feeling left out because we weren't so good at sports and we were the last one picked on the team. The more you understand how to look in the mirror, especially when it comes to relationships, you can then be a guide for your kids on this. And then everything I said there, the reverse is also going to be true. Why are your children drawn to the people they have in their lives? To you, right? They're drawn to you as their parent for a reason. Why is that? Why are they having the friendships in their lives? Are they having these repeated experiences of their friends not treating them well? And it's like they go and find a new friend and have that repeated experience. That is a sign the unconscious is speaking to them. It's a sign that the unconscious is speaking to us. It can be so familiar, okay, Pluto, Scorpio energy, that it's invisible. It's invisible. So just be aware right now, and just don't go jump to blaming your kids with whatever may be happening for you, because they are holding up this mirror for you at this time. So really look into that mirror and peer at it, into that discomfort in your own shadows. Every person in our lives is a reflection back to us. So, are we willing? Are we willing to do that hard work of looking at it? And I'll say as well, like, if your kids are the ones blaming you all the time for being this terrible parent or whatever, they may have an easier time looking at the mirror of you if you have been willing to do it first. And they will pick up on this unconsciously because you're modeling it for them. You are teaching them how to do this. And if you've got teenagers or young adults, just know that this energy is going to be very extremely highlighted. This rebellious, going against the grain energy, this divine discontent, know that it's coming in here. And this is partly why. All right. So I've been speaking a lot about relationships. And I mentioned that Venus is in this mix too. So Venus is conjunct both the moon and the sun in Scorpio at this eclipse. And then we also have an out of sign conjunction to Mercury in Libra. So relationships, that's what this means. So our relationships are transforming at this time. And that includes with our partners, our spouses, and our children. And they, for us as parents. So this is a beautiful time to really ask yourself, what do you want? And how do you want to be in relationship with your kids? What do you want your relationship to look like with them in 10 years, 20 years? And, okay, now this is the tough one. Are you actually building that relationship right now? Are you taking those steps, making the building blocks for what you do value and what you do want that relationship to be like? Or have you been focusing actually on areas that you don't really want? So expect these themes to be really coming to the surface in a powerful, deeply transformational way, in very emotional way, because Scorpio, again, is emotional. It's going into the depths of all the emotions and intensity. We may also, or our children may experience issues around control or jealousy, maybe even feeling possessive. It's the good, it's the bad, it's the ugly. And in Scorpio, in the way that Scorpio does, it transforms all of that. So again, this could be a really moment of your relationship dying, right? The way that your relationship was is dying. And that is so, like that Phoenix rising from the ashes, it can be reborn and birthed into something new and different. This is consider it like the old ways that you've been in relationships together with your children, people in your lives that weren't working. There can be a real crumbling of that. And it again is so it can be transformed. You may find that relationships in your life from in the past are transitioning because maybe they are not suiting you any longer. And what is being born, what is coming from this new and deep place within you in your heart, Venus, is taking you into a new direction. Very intense emotions. We can have real intimate feelings. Our children can be having very intimate feelings at this time in deep, soul-like ways. Not just like in sexual ways or that kind of intimacy with body fluid exchange, that kind of thing, but just real deep soul-to-soul connections can be coming up. Very deep bonds can be formed, soul contracts, people who may be coming into our life to be a catalyst for change or for our children, your teenagers, and to, after these experiences and these meetings, to be completely different, altered, transformed from who they were before. So be very gentle with yourself. Be gentle with your kids, especially if you're feeling this intensity. Take time and the space to go slow with this. And if you find that you have children who are very sensitive to emotions and energy and feelings, you could even start to ask them questions. Like maybe they sat down next to somebody at school and then all of a sudden they felt really sad and depressed. Like you could be having that conversation with them. Like, oh, well, maybe you feel things. You can feel what other people are feeling. Or maybe there's a friend who's very negative to them, who always says mean things, and there's constant drama around them. And your child can have that experience of being really stressed or on the verge of tears or angry whenever they're around that person. So help them to see what their emotions and body, this experience is telling them about that person. So you can be a guide in that way as well for them. And again, this is Scorpio. So really trust right now in what you and your kids may be feeling, in your psychic sensitivity and theirs, and what you and they may be picking up on, those undercurrents, those psychic tentacles of Scorpio that really goes into the unconscious of people. So you can be helping them with that as well. With Venus here at this eclipse, the heart is going to be very activated. So you and your kids may have this experience of your heart being cracked open. We have Venus and Pluto is in this as well. So there's a real catalyst for change in our relationships, in what we love and within ourselves. And with Pluto, okay, there's really adding to this intensity. It's increasing it. This push to go through these permanent changes around relationships, currency, and wealth, it's all up at this time. It can be very sudden, unexpected changes as well, very turbulent. The feeling of getting the rug ripped out from under our feet, and it could be around secrets coming to the surface. So how can we move through these energies, parents? Like, what can we do? As I said earlier, this is really about being this sacred witness. How can you do this for yourself as a parent? How can you hold that sacred space for your children and what they may be going through, or their friends? There's a lot of opportunity right now to heal the feminine at this time. Venus is in there, okay? Venus again, she is life, death, and rebirth, okay? She is Lucifer, this morning star, the maiden mother crone, okay? She's all of it. So we are going through this real messy process here so we can be reborn. So don't shy away from that because it's uncomfortable. Go into that depth with your children or your teens, and be willing to see and to witness and listen to these difficult conversations in a way that is non-judgmental as possible, okay? And as you do this, you are therefore teaching them in turn. You're teaching them this wisdom of Venus, this emotional intelligence. This is the mother. And we do also have the energy right now of Black Moon Lilith. She is opposite Pluto and Capricorn. So there's this opportunity to really see and shine a light in those areas where the feminine, the mother, the maternal, the home has been repressed, suppressed, and oppressed in our systems and structures, this domination culture of the patriarchy in our whole world. So there is this raw feminine energy, this primordial feminine coming to the surface, rising to take her place again, to speak up, to speak her truth and to be heard, to stand in her confidence and this maternal feminine wisdom. And what I'm speaking to as well, it's not just about being in a female body, because we both have the feminine and the masculine energy within us. And the feminine, especially in Cancer, is really around these emotions. It's this ability to hold safe emotional space, to offer comfort through our full presence. Okay, Scorpio energy. And this is a cyclical way of being rather than this linear go, 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 nonstop, no breaks. Okay, that's which has been our world. So this feminine wisdom that's coming up is the seasons of life. It is the natural order and progression of life. Okay, think of the cold of winter and hibernation into spring and so forth. And how we in our Western society and cultures have been very disconnected from this wisdom. A beautiful example for you is winter solstice, okay? That's the time of hibernation, to go quiet, to be slow and conserve our energy and warmth. And yet, we have Christmas. We have all of these holidays. Our modern life it's like completely opposite to nature cycles. Where we should be quiet and resting, we're going to like 5 parties and running to the mall to buy the presents to put under the Christmas tree or whatever your tradition may be. It's opposite to what nature is speaking to us. So there's a real opportunity here that you can be helping to teach your children as well as learning for yourself. And I do feel as well that our teenagers might really be feeling that rising feminine energy, okay? So heads up. And how can you support that? That's the real question. How can you redirect that energy, okay? Not to suppress it or to get rid of it or sweep it under the rug, but how can we have that raw, primordial feminine to not be just destructive, but to help build in the new? And that will be different for each of you depending on what is coming for you in your life at this time. But just know that this is a time of transformation, to go into these shadows, into the depths, to see and feel all that is necessary to go through this death process in our personal lives, but again, this collective as well. Can we witness and heal this to begin this new cycle? Another theme that can be coming through for our children, teenagers at this time, I mentioned it a little earlier, is this healing of the body, sexuality, desires, fantasies. Freedom around that can be surfacing at this eclipse. So what role, parents, can you play that isn't adding to the trauma from the past or the trauma that our world has been put on us? And that what has been hidden and suppressed, can we instead bring in healing and respect and love, even if it's stuff we're not comfortable with? And where may we have been stuck in illusions or delusions from the past? So we could have an opportunity to see that a little bit more clearly. And since this is a south nodal eclipse, okay, expect to have this revisiting of remembrance, a reflection from the past experiences to be returning to you or your kids at this time. So, and your kids may actually be having past life memories coming up or experiences that they may not even be fully aware that that's past life. But you can have that extra awareness and understanding and, again, witness that and help them through those emotions. Whatever it is that's coming up is your unconscious, is their unconscious, and it's bringing this to the surface. All that is uncomfortable, so you can see it and witness it and like reintegrate it back into you. And I also wanted to take a short moment to just briefly say But there is a lot going down with our finances in our world at this time. So see my other video for a deeper dive into that. But I do want you to be aware that this is taking place. It is in the astrology. It's, again, necessary and needed, this crumbling and cracked open experience, so we can build something new and better. But I'm mentioning it here as well, that your kids, depending on their age, of course, but they're going to be picking up on this energy. They may not be aware of it or can like really understand what may be happening. You know, they may not care at all about the stock markets. And yet they can be picking up on the energy of the collective, the fear that is in our world at this time. So, all right, clearing some energy there. If you do find that your kids are having that experience, really help them to ground. Get them into nature. That's going to help them not take on other people's stuff, okay? I would also advise to step away from news and social media at this time. You know, I suppose that includes me too, but hopefully you'll still be tuning into me. But just know that there's going to be lots of illusion and confusion coming at us at this time, and it can be very difficult to discern what is truth and what is illusion. So that could be something that you and your kids can actually explore together and ask questions about, where instead of you just closing off and just being like, well, this over here is totally wrong, this is a conspiracy, and this is totally truth, can you together come at this from different angles, different equations, asking questions? You know, what is being presented in the news? Is it feeling right in your gut or for them? And if not, what parts of the pieces of the puzzle might be missing? So that's the kind of dialogue you can be having with them to get deeper into what's going on. And I will also say this is not just about the old breaking down. We do have the new coming in with Uranus conjunct that North Node. So very humanitarian, revolutionary energy. That's Uranus, okay? So know that what is ever occurring and rippling out from the solar eclipse, we're going to be in that energy for the next 6 months, especially around money and relationships. A real transformation of that, okay? And we may be feeling it in a really big way because we do have Jupiter there. So really expanding, blowing up of these energies. So what can you do, parents? Really focus on what you and your children are creating and calling it at this time. Okay, yes, this is a period of dismantling, seeing what is broken, what has been kept hidden from us, and together to say, let's do it better. So what is that for you in your life? Really focus on what you can control. You know, even as the outer world rumbles and does its thing, be within yourself. Focus on your mind, your thoughts, your heart. Okay, again, there's that Venus energy. Can you be in compassion for what is happening, even as you hold some strong boundaries? Really focus on being in the present moment, and you actually have a wonderful guiding hand to help you with that, and that is your children. So if you are really caught in your fears and worries, let your children be your teacher in this moment. How to be fully present in your body, in your 5 senses, to let go and just be in complete joy of this moment. That is the gift that our children are teaching and reteaching us how to be in. So really help that, use that to help you through what is coming. So yeah, that is, focus on you, what you're creating, what you're wanting to build, okay? These new friendships, these new relationships that you're building, you know, not just surface level relationships, but people who are really willing to go into the depths with you. So I would love to know, parents, what are you creating in your life? What are you calling in? What are your children calling in? What are you building for this new earth, this new future that we are going in together? And be sure to set an intention around that at this solar eclipse, because again, it's a big one, it's intense, and yet be the phoenix rising from the ashes. Really new, amazing opportunities are on the other side of this for us. So again, if you need support on this, or you want to know like how these energies might be affecting you or your kids, maybe they do have a lot of Scorpio, you know, planets in Scorpio right now, and this is really like, whoo, this is like next level intense for you. Please do send me a message and we can go and look at their astrology birth chart together and what that can mean and how you can support them. And I also did an intuitive reading for parents around this solar eclipse. So if you are needing support, especially with family and relationships around you not being supportive, please check that out. So maybe Spirit can give you guidance that you need. And please like this video and subscribe to this channel. Again, that helps to get this out there to more parents like you who are really ready to call in these new changes. They may not be comfortable to go through, and yet so much better on the other side of that. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.